Hi everyone, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. So today's session is on the first month of a wife visiting a husband in a dementia facility. So for this rendition, the wife, Winifred, she is 80 and her husband is Doug. And he's 82, going on 83. So the move-in actually went a lot better than you'd expected. The first visit even was okay. You'd been dreading that, but you know, that went quite well. You felt mainly because he'd made a friend with the next door neighbour. His room neighbour was a nice man, and they had a similar background of stockbroking, so that really helped that he had a friend inside. And it was warm and it was nice and the food was really good and all the rest of it. I mean, you know, you're a standard cook, but the food here was a lot better than what you were providing. So for all these reasons, it seemed that he was, you know, settled, happy enough to see you, and things were ticking along. But anyway, that was the first couple of weeks. Anyway, the day came that you were dreading and that you'd been thinking about and knew that you should have addressed it beforehand, but you couldn't quite get up the wherewithal to do it, you know, the stamina. You'd been quite exhausted. Well, not quite exhausted, you were totally, utterly exhausted after 8 years of having looked after Doug with dementia and everything that goes with that. And you just, you know, had to have a break when he first went in some respite, and others came and visited a bit. But now it was back to the routine of you doing, you know, carrying the brunt of it, so to speak. And within that, you felt that, well, you knew that you had to tell him that he was now in a dementia unit. And you'd thought about it, you'd read about it, you talked to your friend Anne about it, Anne the friend about it. And yeah, anyway, the day came and I just have to do it, whatever, however, you know. So I went into the unit and Doug was there, and I was on tenterhooks. Anyway, I thought, okay, I just have to get all negative out of my mind. I just have to be practical about this. So I could see he was in a good space. You know, he was in the kitchen sitting there, and I'd brought in scones, you know, sultana and date. Quite a big eater of scones, big man, and eats a lot of scones. So I thought maybe if I have an option that might help. Wasn't sure how it would, but anyway, we sat down, he ate, you know, one of each and on to his third. And then I thought, okay, it was nice and quiet in the lounge. No one was screaming and yelling. Everything was calm. Thought, okay, time's come. And I said, now, Doug, I have something that I need to discuss with you. He was eating a scone, so he couldn't really say too much. And he said, yep. And I said, look, I need to explain why you're here. And he didn't answer. And I said, now, I just sort of went through it and said, now, you know that when you were living at home with me, that you were having memory problems. And he said, yep. So, okay, so he recognised that. And I said, and it was, whilst most of the time it was okay, towards the end it was becoming difficult because, you know, you were fit enough, but your orientation went and your present memory was going. And because of that, you weren't able to dress yourself in the morning, and we had to get carers to come 2-3 times a week. And the rest of the week I was having to help you. So that's why, you know, you needed to have more care. Yep, he said, I know. And, oh, I just thought, he knows. Like, I didn't want to make too much of a big deal of it. And I said, I didn't want to elaborate too much to sort of break the spell, so to speak. So I said, so because of that, because I wasn't managing, I put it on me, because I wasn't managing with you at home, you know, and you needed to be in a safe environment where you were cared for, that's why you're living here now. Okay, he said. That was it. I mean, nothing else to it, really. I mean, I thought, well, okay, let's leave it at that. I mean, no point going on and on about it. Oh, I felt quite relieved. I actually felt a lot of love for him at that point, I have to say, because he'd been quite critical. He had become critical with me at home, just bits and, you know, just stuff around, and he wasn't appreciative, put it that way. But this time I really felt that he was appreciating my efforts that I'd made, you know, all these years, just purely through the, you know, example of him accepting that he was here and not making a big song and a dance about it or getting angry or resisting. You know, that was a big appreciation, the biggest appreciation act, you know, as far as I was concerned, in terms of the efforts I'd put in. And so I really appreciated his acceptance. It was so helpful, because if he'd resisted and reacted, it would have made it extremely difficult for me. My energy was still low. I didn't know how I'd cope, but I didn't have to worry about it because he'd just accepted it. And I felt that we'd always had a good marriage, you know, up till the point of the dementia. We'd always supported each other and been cooperative, you know, and helped each other out. And I just felt that, you know, that past positive emotional memory bank that we had was being drawn on by him. And he may have thought about it a little bit, past memory, not as affected as present memory. And somehow, even though he didn't know the details, couldn't remember all the time frame details, he knew that it was important for him to accept this and that I wasn't managing. And so he just accepted it. Wow, that was amazing. So anyway, I just started to, you know, well, I felt so comfortable now because of him having accepted it, and I was actually starting to make some friends at the dementia unit, which some of the women of my age who had husbands in there as well, we'd become friends and were starting to chat to each other, which was lovely actually, because my own friends had departed somewhat. Just with the name of dementia, it seemed they scattered. You know, you wouldn't believe it. Lifelong friends that you've had, you know, since you're at school, except for my friend Anne, who's solid as and so reliable. Everyone else scattered to the four winds. Not good. I mean, you know, maybe they had some reason for it. Some had gone into a nursing home. Some had gone into a retirement village. I mean, from the nursing home, it's hard for them to come out because they're on walkers and they haven't got a car. But the ones in the village, some of them still had a car and they were driving, but once they were in that village, not the same village that Doug was in, but another village, they just didn't come out to visit, especially when they heard about the dementia topic. And I wasn't going to not talk about it because it was a part of my life now, wasn't it? I was going to the dementia facility often. I went Tuesday for the movie, special movie that they had on, Thursday for bingo, Saturday to take Doug out for a big walk in the grounds, and also a small walk on Tuesday and Thursday. And, you know, I was meeting my friend Anne for coffees and things, and we were actually having quite a nice time, I have to say, because her husband passed away 20 years ago, and, you know, we were on our own, and she actually had asked whether I'd like to go and live with her, you know, two of us together. But we decided not to, because we enjoyed our own homes and memories, and visiting each other, there was something new to bring to the relationship when we saw each other, you know, every second day practically. So I just got on with my life at the dementia unit, and I felt I had, you know, plenty of friends. I was making friends at the dementia unit. My other friends had scattered, and I still had Anne, and I had my books, my trusty books. I love reading. So, you know, life wasn't too bad. I mean, I know that things will come up, you know, it's not always smooth in a dementia unit. I can see what others are going through with angry husbands and angry wives and people at the door and wanting to get out. And I'm so thankful that I'm not having to go through that. So thankful, so lucky. I mean, I'm not sure how many people have an easy ride with it, but somehow, so far, I have. So I feel at some point I want to actually give back, you know, because I just feel that a lot of people, you know, the carers are very good, the nurses are very good to Doug, and he's got his one friend. I mean, you know, and that makes a big difference, doesn't it? You know, it's not easy for men to make friends in dementia facilities. I've noticed that the women make friends a lot more easily with each other. They network and bond together a lot more easily than the men do. But Doug at least has that one friend, so that's a great help. So that's the end of the video today. Thank you for your likes and your looks and your comments, you know, and all your support for this channel and subscribing. Yeah, it really makes a difference, and I'm very encouraged by it, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.